Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. So first up for TeaND today, we have my I Make the Rules mug that has Darth Vader on the other side of it, because it feels weirdly kind of appropriate with what we're talking about today. And inside of it, we have, from Celestial Seasonings, some Tension Tamer, because it tastes good. That's the only reason today. I don't have a special reason for it, I just wanted it. So, before we get into what we are actually talking about today, again, a reminder, if you guys missed it from yesterday, right now you can, over on the King Leo D&D shop, friend of the show, we connected early on in this whole process, and they have gone ahead and very graciously offered myself and all of you guys who are a part of my little community here a $6.99 discount on mugs from their shop. I went ahead and ordered one myself. You should go ahead and order one too. Use the code TeaND, that's capital T-E-A, capital N, capital D, at checkout to get that discount on it. The link to their shop and the code is in the description of this episode. Thank you very much to King Leo D&D once again for floating us that discount code. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate the support, and I'm really glad to see that you guys are getting stuff done, getting your show up and rolling and moving, and I am very excited to see where it goes. So, moving on to what we are actually talking about today, we are talking about the Epic Legacy Core Rulebook. If you cast your mind back to the long time of, 2 weeks ago, something like that, you will remember that I talked about the Epic Legacy Tome of Titans back then. Honestly, it might have even been last week. This is the Epic Legacy Core Rulebook. This is more in line with what the PHB is for it, as opposed to the Monster Manual. Those monsters make a lot more sense when you get into what's in this book, which I'm really excited about. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about it again. This is some crazy stuff. It takes your characters from levels 20 to 30, so I guess it doesn't take you from 20, it takes you from 21 to 30. So it is outside, obviously, of the realm of normal 5th edition stuff, but that doesn't make it any less awesome, because honestly, this is a lot of fun. This book is really, really cool. This is by 2C Gaming, so if you're looking for that, same with the other one, and actually, it came with a third book in the set, which was kind of the campaign guide, I guess, more like the DMG type thing for running epic campaigns. So, let's take a look at what's inside of this bad boy, shall we? As I mentioned, this is kind of a player's handbook type of book, in that it kind of is focused on everybody as opposed to just the Dungeon Master for building out encounters and whatnot. So, running through the table of contents here real quick. First up, we obviously have our introduction. It's got all kinds of good stuff in it, like how to use the book, what the book is about, that sort of thing, which is definitely important. A very brief, 6-page interlude about what is epic adventuring and epic characters in Chapter 1, followed by Chapter 2, which are the epic prestige classes. I have another set of legendary adventures kind of books, epic adventures kind of books that also do a very similar thing to this, in that they are a 21 through 30 set. And this set of classes is really cool because they are prestige classes. They do sort of then build upon the actual class, as opposed to letting you sort of double dip into the same class, which is a really cool mechanic from the other one. But I like the idea that it gives you a linear sort of progression through the rest of your class. And each of these actually does come with some written in rules for some of the subclasses that are associated with 5th edition, which means that it gives you sort of a template that you can take and apply elsewhere, and then you can build off of that so that you can create epic lines for the subclasses that don't have that laid out in this book explicitly, if that is something you're interested in doing. And by that I mean if you have a player who's playing one of those subclasses that is not in this bad boy. Again, as ever, Artificer is not included. It is not part of the... God, I can never remember the name of the document. The document that essentially says what people can party or publish third-party content about for 5th edition. And obviously Bloodhunter's not in here because Bloodhunter is not an official class, despite the fact that it really kind of seems like it is at this point. From there, we go on to Chapter 3, which is customization, being multi-class, feats, skills, languages, that kind of thing. Chapter 4 is all about magic at an epic level. Chapter 5 is about the epic DM, so it does have a little bit of flavor in there for the DM about, like, this is kind of what an epic level campaign is going to look like for you. And if you are remembering the Tome of Titans that I talked about the other day, it's orienting you to be able to use that kind of thing effectively, and that is saying a lot, because that's scary. Chapter 6 is Epic Encounters. Honestly, this is, in my mind, is a good... it's a good system for both players and DMs to be able to understand if you're planning on playing a game in this sort of scenario, because the stakes are different entirely than in a standard 5th edition game. Because when you think about it, a level 20 game for 5th edition is going to have, like, world-ending consequences. And level 23 characters kind of sneeze at those consequences, and they are world-ending nonetheless. So it is something that scales up significantly as you go through this. So I do think it's good for everybody to kind of have that that sort of fixed in their mind as they go into an epic level campaign, if you're planning on doing that. Chapter 7 has Relics, which is essentially epic level magic items. And then Chapter 8 gets into mythic creatures, which really sort of begins to build on the Tome of Titans that I talked about, not that long ago. But it also does have some of its own in here, which is exciting and fun. So if you are looking and you're like, man, I don't really know, Tome of Titans seems cool, but, like, I need the rest of it, this does come with some monsters in it for you to be able to apply and take a look at, and then you can decide from there if Tome of Titans is worth buying for you as well, because you will have the rest of the context associated with it right here. So anyway, let's take a look, just a quick little look here at one of these epic classes, because there isn't really a good way for me to, just describe it, I guess. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go with the Cleric, because it is, in my mind, one of the most straightforward, even though that isn't necessarily true. It is most straightforward in my head. So each of the prestige classes, that's what they're called, has a prerequisite set for it to be applicable to that character, which is really cool. For the Cleric, we'll say, it is a Cleric level 20, and by Cleric I do mean Ascendant, that is the prestige class name. Prerequisite of Cleric level 20, slay an epic foe. At the DM's discretion, you may be required to defeat a mighty opponent of tremendous power. This enemy must be the greatest threat you have ever faced and represent a tremendous achievement in your adventuring career. So, it is required for you to have done something epic. And then your Epic Trial is a Relic of Divinity. Each of these classes, or each of these prestige classes, comes with an Epic Trial suggestion in there, so that you have an idea of something that could be something that could trigger you into going into this pathway as you go. For the Cleric, to accompany you on the long road to divine ascension, you must acquire a sacred icon of your faith. The icon must always is almost always an object of great significance or value to your religious order. Blah blah blah. Essentially, you have to acquire this object, and then you have to sanctify it, so that you can channel all kinds of divine power. That's really it. And by that's really it, I mean that's supposed to be super, super difficult, so beware. And then each of the prestige classes comes with this nice little table associated with it. It looks a lot like the table in the player's handbook, so it is pretty familiar looking. It is the level table, obviously. And they don't add in like 10, 11, 12th level spells. Instead, what they do is they have tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 level spells, essentially. So kind of like the Mythic 1, Mythic 2, Mythic 3 from the Tome of Titans that we talked about. This one essentially adds in those spell levels, quote unquote, those spell tiers, as you progress in level in this class. So it also scales up your proficiency bonus, and for clerics specifically, Ascendants, they have something called Divine Spark generations that then you sort of gain as you go forward here. So let's run through real fast, as fast as I can here, I promise, some of the basic stuff of the Cleric here. So you continue to gain 1d8 hit die per level. you gain proficiency in a single saving throw of your choice. You get an ASI at 21st, 23rd, 25th, 27th, and 29th level, which you could forego and take a feat instead. You get an epic feat at 21st, 25th, and 29th level. Epic feats are later on in this very book, and we'll talk about a couple of those. You can forego taking an epic feat instead to increase an ability score of your choice by 4. Or you can increase 2 ability scores of your choice by 2. For both the ASI and the epic feat foregoing, you can't increase an ability score above 30. So that cap of 20 is lifted. You can go up to 30. Acts of Faith, beginning at 21st level, you gain your first taste of raw divine power, greatly enhancing your skills and abilities. You gain the following features. Essentially, every time for divine competence, every time you make a wisdom ability check of some sort, you can. Anytime you make a skill check with that you would be proficient in, you can use your wisdom modifier instead of whatever modifier is associated with that skill. That's what it is. And sacred spells, when you expend a spell slot to cast one of your domain spells of 4th level or lower, you may instead cast that spell at a 5th level without expending a higher level spell slot. Divine Spark, the thing that you generate as you go up in levels in this class. Essentially, you get the ability to create these tremendous sparks of power. You regain all of them when you finish a long rest. You can't hold more than a single divine spark within you at a time, and while you hold it, you gain the following benefits until that spark is expended. Wow. Your body radiates power, your eyes glow, and your voice resonates with godlike intensity. A creature that can perceive you immediately knows you are divine, regardless of race, intelligence, or alignment. If you would roll a 9 or lower on an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, in which you are proficient, you instead roll a 10. Unless used to cast an epic level spell, a divine spark is expended when you finish a short or long rest. So, you hang on to that spark as long as you are not casting an epic level spell, which are the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3s, which you gain access to starting at level 22. At 24, you become a quasi-deity, in which you sort of like build on the Acts of Faith thing that you got at level 21, except you pick up slightly different ones. Divine Will, by expending more of your magic, you can remove the need to concentrate on spells. When you expend a spell slot to cast that requires concentration to maintain its effects, you can expend an additional spell slot of that spell's level or higher to remove the need to concentrate on the spell for the duration. Very good. Also, Vitality of the Gods. You become immortal. You no longer suffer the effects of aging, nor do you need to eat, drink, sleep, or breathe, and you're immune to the exhausting condition. You must rest to recover hit points, features, spells, and other traits. When you rest, you can sense the prayers, requests, and worship of those who follow you. Very cool. 26th level for all classes is where it gets kind of cool. It is your epic domain. They have a couple of them listed over on this side over here. On here, there's the Arcana domain, the Death domain, and the Forge domain. But I picked Cleric because it has so many of them, because it goes into many, many of them. Essentially, it is all of the ones from the Player's Handbook, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and then one of their other third-party supplements that they have written. There we go. So let's talk about Grave Domain, I guess. You get a spell list across the board that has a 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th level domain spell associated with it, which is really, really cool because, obviously, spell lists kind of cap off at 5. Specifically in the Grave Domain, you can consign the living to the grave with your very presence until your Divine Spark is expended. When you start each of your turns, a creature of your choice within 60 feet of you with 100 hit points or fewer dies instantly. Epic and mythic creatures instead must succeed on a Constitution saving throw versus your spell save DC to prevent this effect. So you can just kill stuff around you as a epic level grave cleric if it's got less than 100 hit points. That's just power word kill for free at the start of each one of your turns. That's all that is. Skipping forward past all the rest of the domains because there's a lot there. We get to Demigod, which again builds on those features that you've been accumulating. You pick up Annihilate Undead. Any non-epic undead that fails a saving throw against your channel Divinity Turn Undead, you can just destroy it entirely, turning it to ash. Immortal Essence. As long as you have worshippers, you can't be truly killed. 8 hours after you're slain, your body, equipment, and soul merge into Divine Essence and vanish. After 7 days, you return to life with full hit points at a holy site, temple, or other place of worship built in your name along with all of your equipment. This is a deific effect and not can be prevented by anything other than another deific effect. Omnipotence, as an action, you can expend a use of your divine intervention cleric class feature to cast the spell Wish instead. And then Ascendancy is your 30th level of feature. At 30th level, you ascend to true godhood. You can choose to immediately end your current existence and take your place among the divine order to remain upon the world in an extremely powerful but ultimately weaker mode of existence. Should you elect not to ascend, you could instead gain the following benefits. Epic effects produced by you, such as your Ascendant class feature, and epic spells you cast are instead deific effects. When you expend a Divine Spark as a reaction, you may immediately generate a new Divine Spark from your remaining Divine Sparks, if available. That was a lot of words, that was a lot of information just to get through the one class. But hopefully it did highlight for you that these are really, really powerful and really, really cool. You become immortal as a cleric, which is awesome. You just straight up become a god. And that, I mean, it's hard to, you know. And that's kind of the vibe for a lot of these, but like cleric, you straight up become a god. Let's jump forward to epic feats real quick, because I know that's the one that people are actually really excited to see, I'm sure. Epic feats, we're going to do 3 of them. We'll say we'll do 3 of them. Why not? And we're just going to pick them at random here. We're going to start with Deathbringer, because it's sitting in front of me. Deathbringer. You are an unrelenting force of destruction. As you deal death with every blow, you gain the following benefits. When you take the attack action, you may take an additional weapon attack as part of that action, in addition to any other attacks you would normally make. So, extra attack as a feat. When you hit a creature with a challenge rating of 5 or lower with a weapon attack, it is instantly slain unless you choose not to slay it. You just kill weak stuff, and you always know exactly how many creatures you have killed, in case that is helpful to you in any capacity. Let's see. Energy infusion. You develop a particular affinity for types of elemental energy that you can manipulate at will. When you select this feat, choose a damage type from the following: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. You gain the following benefits. Once per turn, when you deal acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage, you may change the damage types to the damage type you selected when you gain this epic feat. When you are subjected to damage of your chosen type from an enemy creature, you may use your reaction instead to take no damage and gain temporary hit points equal to the damage that would have been dealt. And unless you are enemies, elementals you encounter are friendly towards you. That's fun. And we'll do Flawless Instincts last here. Your senses are always acute and accurate, granting you the following benefits. You have epic advantage on saving throws against traps, and traps have epic disadvantage on attack rolls against you. You cannot be surprised when initiative is rolled. You may immediately move up to your speed. If a creature is hidden within 120 feet of you, you sense its presence, but not its exact location. So, some pretty high-level stuff, obviously, that you can just pick up as part of your progression through this. Again, reminder, you're fighting against things that are literal titans and gods. They are impossible. Let's take a look real quick. I'm going to see if I can find a relatively short relic real fast, just because I think those are super cool. But I know that I'm going pretty long here, but I guess I can go long. That's fine too. Yeah, these are all crazy long. So let's just let's run one of them real quick here. Why not? Okay, that one is a whole page long. We're not going to read that entire thing. Yeah, Aegis of the Eternal. This is plate armor. It is a relic. All of that is flavor text. The properties of this set of plate armor. While unattuned, the relic has the following properties. Indestructible. While wearing the armor, you are immune to damage. While you are unattuned to it, you are immune to damage. Perfect fit. Once you have donned the armor, it cannot be removed by creatures other than you. And resolute. While wearing the armor, if an effect moves you against your will in any manner other than falling, you may use your reaction to prevent that movement. When you are attuned to the relic, to become attuned to the relic, you must experience horrific punishment while wearing the armor. Each time you reduce damage you take from an epic enemy creature, record that damage up to a maximum of 500 damage per creature. After you have prevented 10,000 points of damage while in this manner, you become attuned to the relic. While it is attuned, the relic gains the following properties in addition to its unattuned properties. True immortality. While wearing this armor, you cannot die. Walking a fortress. While wearing the armor, you have a total cover against everything outside the armor. Bane, you cannot... So each of them comes with some kind of a drawback, listed as its Bane. Bane, you cannot benefit from the effects of a short or long rest while wearing the relic. Additionally, donning or doffing the armor takes 8 hours of strenuous activity, which cannot be reduced by any means. So, absolutely bonkers item, right? You're immune to getting hurt or dying or anything like that. However, you can't rest, and it takes 8 hours to put on. But anyway, that's some of the cool stuff you can expect to find in the Epic Legacy Core Rulebook by 2C Gaming. Check them out if you are interested, because honestly, this book is really, really awesome. And I would love to be able to run an epic level campaign like this, but I also know that it is hard. It's going to be very difficult to do, if ever. So, anyway, moving on to what we were talking, or not to what we were talking about, to the shows that we have today. It is Thursday, which means we have Critical Role, Authors and Dragons, NADPOD, and LGBT D&D. Go check them out, everybody. Please let them know I sent you, because at some point somebody's going to say something to me, and I'm going to think that it is hysterical. But that is everything I have to talk to you guys about today. So, thank you very much for making me part of your morning routine. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much in particular to my patrons. You guys are the ones that make this show possible. And thank you to King Leo D&D for the amazing discount code associated with your store. Everybody, please go check them out. Again, big discount on that mug. I'm excited for mine to come in, but it won't come in before the end of the season here, as that is tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow for the season finale of this show. I wish I could say it was going to be something super special, but it honestly probably won't be. And that's just how it goes. We're going to go out the same way we came in. Just doing our thing. But with all that said, don't forget, everybody, drink tea, play D&D, and keep on rolling.